stretch. Time to get outside. How do we go outside in these COVID times? Well, social distancing measures and the fear of contracting while going out are real. But how do we try to make kids understand this? Let's give you a small game in introduction as to how kids can be kept busy as well as made to understand the concept of social distancing. Hello and welcome to another episode of 3 Positive News. Social distancing. New word, everybody's learned about it. How do we keep kids engaged as well as teach them about social distancing? Here is a small game that we can show you. Numbers, written spread 0 to 9, spread across adequate distance. And now we'll see if the kids stand up to the test. Okay kids, here's the challenge. Okay, I will give you a problem to solve. You have to go to the last digit of the answer and stand in that circle. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first problem. 153 into 56. Right. So 8 because 53, 3 and 6, 18. So you get it right. Thank you. We'll play one more round. Okay. Different type of problem. Let's see if you can solve it. Add the number of wives that Dasharatha had to the number of Pandavas to the number of brothers and sisters that formed the Kauravas. Last digit. So, here is a nice way to teach kids how to play with numbers as well as maintain adequate distance. I hope you loved the game. More on the other side. What we have today may sound a bit like an epidemiology 101 class or a basic introduction, but for many lay people, the understanding of how this disease COVID-19 is behaving is somewhat not easy to understand. So we want to go back to the classical understanding of what we call in epidemiology as the agent-host-environment triad, right? So for any disease to happen, and in this case we are talking of COVID-19, there has to be an agent, there is a host, and there is an environment. And let's look at the interplay of factors and what may turn out to work a little bit in favor of reducing the burden of this disease or the impact of it in terms of fatalities, etc. Now, in terms of agent-host triad for COVID-19, what do we know till now? We know the agent, the novel coronavirus 2019, is a type of strain of coronavirus. However, researchers have found two types of strains, small genetic mutations or variations. The S-type strain, which is the original strain, which is found in Wuhan in China, it is quite virulent and it's causing fatalities 4% and upwards. And then there is the talk of the L-type of strain, which actually is seen to have lower fatality rates, maybe lower virulence, but maybe more infective. We need more data on this, whether the Indian subcontinent has got more of the S-type strain, L-type strain or something totally new. We need to watch out for this space. This is on the agent. Now let's look at the host side. What are the factors that play out for India? A very young population, we have talked about this previously also, that more than 90% of the population is largely below the age of 60, compared to something like Italy where almost 30% of the population are above the age of 60. Then there has been talk of, is because of frequent infections of other types, is there some cross immunity or innate immunity coming from things like NK cells or natural killer cells, macrophages, neutrophils? Do they provide any benefit at all? Or because we do not have specific immunity to this particular virus, is it not going to make a difference at all? This is a question again that needs to be discussed from a host factor. Then let's look at the environmental factors. The host and the agent interact not in vacuum but in an environment. And what's the environment like? The environment has One factor which is a big large unknown in terms of weather, because it's a novel virus, we don't know how it behaves in different weather patterns and seasons. So we don't know how it's going to behave in April and May. Although some data seems to suggest that it is spreading more or more prevalent where in the latitudes between 30 and 50, where mainly the weather conditions are colder and less humid, right? The other thing in the environment to keep note of is overcrowding, which is what everybody is worried about in India. It will help in easy spread because of the nature of the tight population that we have in terms of very large population per square kilometer. So this is the type of interaction that we are talking about to see what is the final outcome of the disease. But in all of this, we have what we call as public health measures, and these are the interventions that we are doing to separate out these agent-host environment triad or to interrupt some of these chains. And what we are doing there are the interventions like the lockdowns, like the school closures, the screening, the quarantine and self-isolation and isolation of contacts, social distancing and hygiene measures. What will the impact of these man-made interventions, if one may call it, and you will notice here we do not have vaccines or medicines in this list, but that will go on in the next year and add there, do to this interaction between agent, host and environment? How much will it help influence this? That is what we are closely looking forward to, and that's what's influencing how this pandemic is evolving in the Indian context as well as globally. But we can narrow this down to an Indian context to see how this triangle interacts and what it means for us. So more in the next few episodes on how this interacts and how some of the interventions like medicines and vaccines, how far are they away and what do we do till then. Thank you. Hope to see you next time. Bye.